Yeah, we're live. Robert was here like 3 seconds ago, and he touched his camera and it broke. So he should be back in about 30, 45 seconds or whatever. He might have went to pee or something like that. I have no idea. So welcome to the Shut Up and Ride podcast, where we interview our guests. Here he is.
Oh, Lord, that was awesome.
Nice job. Good start.
I was just trying to make sure I fucked it up
Lord.
right from the get-go, man. That's how all my live streams go.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. You just beat Bobo's record for demonetization of this video. Thank you, Robert. You are awesome.
I came prepared, man. I wore my shirt just for you, dude.
You're the best. All right. Let me start over just for you so you could catch up. Welcome to the Shut Up and Ride podcast, where we interview Robert of B1KER. And B1KER's always been one of my favorite channels for years, actually. If you have a question for him, what I figured out is save it a little bit, because when I'm looking at the chat and stuff like that, if you're asking him a question like right off the bat, I don't get to it. So wait till that section when we get to it. The other thing about this is a really, really well worth it channel to subscribe to. So in the description of this video, go in there. Robert's got all of his Patreon, all of his stuff. As I've said a million times, I've done a 180 on Patreon. I used to not like it, and now I think this is really, and not to be an asshole, but this is really one of the only ways that you can make a YouTube channel work. Robert's always been extremely generous to me way back when I was a channel called Mountain Bike Advice. So we're going to interview him. So let's get started. Robert, introduce yourself, asshole.
What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert.
There you go.
B1KER channel. Wait. I'm not supposed to do that here, right?
I was so hoping you were going to do that.
My favorite part about my channel is that every fucking video that I've done, whether it's been a live stream, a video, or whatever other kind of videos that I could do, I always start out like that. And I did that for a little bit of brand recognition, but I really wanted people to know the name of the channel because, you know, I spelled it with the numbers because I'm a geek or whatever. And it's completely fucking backfired on me because everybody calls me everything except for B1KER. For some reason, I get like B1KER, B1KER 1, B1 B1KER. I don't understand how I can start out every video with this is the B1KER channel and everybody in the internet fucks it up.
Have you ever thought of rebranding it to just What's Up YouTube? I mean, people must have bugged the shit out of you at Sedona to say that.
I don't want to rebrand, man. I heard there was this other channel a while ago had a pretty good following, and then he rebranded and went to shit. It was like shit, Applied Jackass, or I don't remember.
So this is how it's going to be, huh?
Yeah, right. I'm fucking primed, man. I'm ready to go.
Let's get to some questions. All right.
I haven't looked at them at all.
Great. I'm glad you did all the prep.
It's personally against everything I believe in.
I was trying to be a nice guy.
Everybody would ask me when they would be on my podcast, like, hey, what's the questions? And I'd be like, I don't know. I'll figure them out when I ask them.
So you look like a jackass when you come on your show.
Yeah,
like,
totally, man.
All right. What kind of mountain bikes do you have?
What kind of mountain bikes do I have? I have a Santa Cruz Bronson, and I had a Santa Cruz Chameleon hardtail. That is.
What happened to the Chameleon? I thought that was your. What happened to the Chameleon? I thought that was your deal.
Well, you have to subscribe to my channel if you want to find out what happened to it. I didn't even tell people.
I do subscribe to your channel.
Huh?
I do subscribe to your channel. I thought that was your number one bike.
I love that bike. It was probably the most fun that I've had riding in the last year. But there's a reason that I got rid of it, and you'll have to stay tuned to find out.
I will.
Right? I gotta keep
you,
that. There's some kind of like industry term for that, you know, like a cliffhanger or something like that.
spoiler? I don't know.
We could call it that.
Have you ever regretted selling a mountain bike?
You know, I don't regret selling one, but there is one that I gave away that I wish I would have never given away. When I first got into riding back in the 90s, I was like a BMX guy, and this guy that my mom was dating, he was a mountain biker for whatever sense of the term that they had back then. And they bought me this bike at Montgomery Ward's. It was a piece of shit. Thing weighed like 55 pounds, and it had a warranty for like, I don't know, let's just say it was 3 months or something like that. And I rode it until like the wheels were falling off. They ended up taking it back like the last day of the return policy and got the money back, and then bought my first real mountain bike, which at the time was a giant ATX 760. So
nice.
To put that into terms for people, the top of the line giant bike mountain bike at the time was $999, and mine was like $600. And even the top of the line was fully rigid, as well as mine was fully rigid, but it had oversized tubing, so that really made it important. I mean, I think my top tube was probably the same size as my rear triangle is now, but that was oversized. They had this funny thing called oval chain rings, but they called them biopace. And
I remember that.
Huh?
I remember that.
So I basically rode that bike, and that was the bike that really got me into mountain biking. And I had it like in my grandma's attic while I was in the military, and somewhere along the line, I was like, I'm gonna get back into riding. I asked my grandma, put that in a box and I'll pay for it to send it out here. And it showed up, and I was like, man, this thing's a piece of shit, dude.
Well, I mean, I tell people, why don't you jump more? And I always say, when I started, if you got a mountain bike more than 1.5 feet off the ground, you could destroy it really, really easily. Taco an aluminum hoop or something like that. So yeah, I guess
the fork on that bike ended up getting trashed. So basically, when it showed up to me, the fork was bent, and a bunch of other things were kind of wrong. And I looked at like how much it was going to cost to fix, and that's when I decided just to go out and buy a new bike. So I put that bike out on the corner with a sign that said free on it, and somebody took it.
I guess the question really is, it's not so much if you regretted selling a mountain bike. Do you now are you emotionally attached in any way to your bikes?
That's the story I'm trying to get to, you fuck. So that was the bike that started it all, man. And I wish I fucking still had it. I could like put it back together and like turn it into a single speed or just do something fun with it. Like still have that bike. That's the only one I really care about. The rest of them, man, it's like, it's just a means to go out and have a good time.
You could have just easily said that right off the bat.
Yeah, but there's a difference between my 2-hour podcast and your 30-minute one. I like to talk.
No shit. Are 26-inch wheels dead for reals?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah. So I know a lot of people are not gonna like be all about that. I'm not a dirt jumper. I don't know what they. I mean, it's dead unless you're like 6 and short. I would imagine if like there's some ladies out there that wouldn't mind riding a 26-inch bike because it probably be able to still throw it around a little better. But for the most part, I feel like it's done to me. I'm questioning what happens between 27.5 and 29 though. It's taken me a long time to get to the point where I'm considering drinking the like 29 Kool-Aid. But the 27.5 is just, I feel like 27.5 is making a comeback, man. People are like, oh, wow.
You really?
More playful. You can really get through the technical stuff better.
Have fun climbing that. Yeah, I was talking to have fun climbing at 27.5. And, you know, I was talking to Josh, the daily mountain bike rider, and as far as he's concerned, everything is dead besides 29. Everything's dead to him.
Yeah, and I really don't understand that because personally, I've ridden enough 29ers that when I get on them, yes, they've come a long way from when they first came out. But in my opinion, they're still not as like flickable. That's the best. Like I'm going to make up some some words. They're not as flickable. I don't feel like they're suited for that like really rocky kind of chunk to like maneuver through. If you're trying to like mash on top of stuff, and that seems like that's what they're doing with all these like super big travel 29ers, then yeah. But I feel like we're like making bikes better and better, but we're still riding the same trails. So
let me stop you right there then. Let me stop you. So we've gone through 5 years of pretty great evolution, right?
Yep.
So here's the question for you. You know, in fact, I'll even give you 10 years of evolution. Disc brakes, slack, this, that, the other. Are we done? Are we there?
Are we done upgrading?
No, I mean, you can always upgrade a bike, but my question is when do we arrive at the mountain bike that I don't buy another one or see another one next year and go, oh shit, that's the next evolution, which bothers the crap out of me in mountain biking. Are we there? Like, can I buy a 3-year-old bike and be very, very happy? Like, let's say somebody goes on Pink Bike, gets a whatever the hell they get, probably Yeti. But let's say they get that. Can they be happy without feeling buyer's remorse? Like, I should have waited till 2021 bikes come out. I mean, what do you think about that? Are we there?
I think that to answer your question, like from a logical sense, like marketing will not ever let us be there. Obviously, these companies need to continue to make money, and having something latest and greatest is easy to drive those sales. But on the other end, can you get a bike and be happy with it? That's a personal decision. I feel like yes. Like one of the channel mottos is it only takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one. Like
yeah, that's a great phrase. Yeah, you know, and that's a great answer, and that's a great phrase, really. I always tell people, like, don't ever make fun of a person out there with a Walmart bike. Like,
dude, I mean,
way to go.
I've in the past, man, apparently I have a freaking stuttering problem, so don't worry about it. But in the past, like I've definitely like looked at some people on the trail and been like, oh,
who can you hear? Can you hear me or Robert?
What the fuck is going on here? Are you joking? Is that what's happening? Is it not just me?
I can't hear you.
Me. You really can't hear me? Can everybody else hear me?
Let's do this.
Fuck this guy. Can you guys hear me?
Well, he's trying to figure out his sound. Why don't you guys ask me questions? Can you hear me?
They're saying they can hear us both, dude. I can hear you.
I can't hear him.
Old guy problems, right?
Hang on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you all along. Are you doing all right?
Asshole here. Hang on a minute. Good Lord. Okay.
So you can hear me?
I can hear you. Hang on.
All right. Good job, Bryson. Now I don't know what the fuck I was ranting about. You got to slow down, guys. You can't chat so much because he starts reading. Do you ever notice he gets this like zombie look on his face when he's reading the screen? Every one of these that I've watched, he's sitting there like this. Like, I think you have to be over 50 to get that look down, but he's got it nailed. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I got to ask another question.
I want to look like Tucker Carlson of Fox News.
Oh, shit. You got your shit squared away now, huh?
God dang. I have my head up my ass. Are you a gear chaser?
Huh?
Are you a gear chaser?
I
Yes.
don't think so. I
you are too.
So. If I was a gear chaser, I wouldn't be riding a 2017 bike.
Look at this. Look at this asshole.
Right?
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
He's right.
I rode with that dude. He's a good guy, man. But he wasn't lying about that.
Yeah, I subscribe to that guy's channel. You guys should subscribe to this guy. This guy's got some different content. It's pretty funny. All right, what kind of mountain bike? All right, first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you own a mountain bike company. What's it called?
Dude, I had a bunch of good answers for this whenever I was drunk watching somebody else's interview. Exactly. But now, I don't know, dude. Let's just call it B1KER.
And what kind of bikes do you make?
Mountain bikes.
I know that, genius. I'm talking about, do you make enduro bikes, cross-country bikes? I
like this. I just want to make you struggle a little bit, man. Bikes with 2 wheels, dude. Fucking A, man. Like, seriously. I would make just probably like I would do an enduro bike, and that's probably like a 150, 160, 27.5.
Wow.
And then I would do a short travel 29er with like super short chain stays that you can kind of whip that bitch around a little bit, just piss people off because it's not a mega travel long 29er. And then
how short in the front? 100
in the front? Oh, when I say short travel, probably like 130, 140 tops.
Wow.
Yeah, but in the back then, like probably like 120, 130. Just enough to keep like in riding the hardtail, I found that the back doesn't like that much. So to have a short travel bike that still has that kind of oomph that you get out of the hardtail, but would still like give a little relief to the back, that would be fun.
Yeah, it would.
Then I'd paint them all turquoise and make some like logo that looks like Yeti and try to sponsor bullshit YouTubers to ride.
God, isn't that the truth? I can't even believe that when that happened. Like, you want to sponsor who? You guys are an idiot. You guys are idiots.
Apparently, I'm going about this shit wrong, man.
No kidding. $20. Like I always say, $20 is $20. What needs to change in the mountain bike industry?
In my opinion, the derailleur needs to fucking go. That's the biggest like problem in my eyes. There's some other issues, but I just feel like here's this like important piece of drivetrain technology hanging off the bike closest to the ground where all the rocks are that you're riding through.
2 questions, son.
Yeah, go for it, man.
The first one would be, okay, the first one would be, and I completely agree with you, but my first question would be, is the pinion gear, can it evolve enough to get rid of a derailleur?
I think it can. There's some things though, like when I rode the Zeroed, they use mostly grip shifts, and I think so do some of the other companies. Like, I feel like that needs to change. Like, we're all like programmed to push buttons, and I just like the way that works better personally. And then I feel like something's up with the chain still. Like I feel like if you got rid of the derailleur, but you still have a chain, then I'm looking at the chain as like that's the next fucked up link. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but here's my next question then. And this is kind of a conspiracy theory kind of question. Do you think it might actually exist, but SRAM and Shimano are like, we can't have this get out? Because I've seen some pretty deep, dark YouTubes of people that invent weird stuff and got rid of it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it actually exists.
More than likely, there's probably a patent somewhere that got bought by another company that they're like, hey, we ain't letting that shit happen. I think like Ford Motor Company did something like that with some vehicles that ran on things other than gasoline, and they like bought up the patent. I'm trying to think of what it was. Something silly like
and then kill the inventor.
Yeah, basically like electric or something like that. Because I remember seeing some like, I like to peruse the interwebs too. Like some shit where these guys like mod these like gas engines and get like 300 miles of the gallon on them by the way that they're doing it. And it's based off this patent from like the 20s.
I believe it. What's your worst injury on a mountain bike?
Hands down, my shoulder separation. That was like the worst. It was horrible. First of all,
long ago?
At this point, it's a couple of years now. Initially, or like before that injury, I always rode pretty like way more like fast and loose than I do now. And I always felt like, hey, I got this shit on the wraps, like I'm keeping myself dialed in, so I'm not being out of control, but I know what I'm doing and I can push the limits a little bit. So I feel like I'm never going to get injured. And I was always one of those guys, and still am. I'm one of those guys that doesn't bail much, like there's certain people you ride with that like every fucking ride, they're like on the ground. You're like, oh, wow, that's weird. But, so for a long time, I just felt like, hey man, I got this shit. I know what I'm doing. I'm keeping myself in the right spot. And then
did you know?
Did
you know when you did it?
Oh, I knew. Like, so the thing was, like,
did it take a long time to get off the mountain? Did it take a long time to get off the mountain?
Figuratively. I mean, basically my fork failed. I had a lefty fork at the time. So my headset dropped down to the wheel, and that's like an instant brake. And it kind of shot me over the handlebars, hit the ground. As soon as I hit the ground, I heard the pop noise. That's like, oh, that's not good. And then basically at that point, I had to ride out. It's not like I'm going to walk my fucking bike on account of my balls. And so like had to nurse my way back to the truck. And then we drank beer for the rest of the night. And went to the doctor the next day because I'm too cheap to pay for the fucking emergency room. Then apparently somewhere in my drinking, I decided to post about it on Instagram. And then the lady called me. She's like, you didn't fucking tell me you got hurt and I got to learn about it on social media. I'm like, well, I guess that's how I do shit. So you act like you're surprised.
All right.
My goal is to really make this podcast as long as possible. So I am purposely just trying to keep you from asking the next question. Cause I know what you're doing. You're like, you have that shit on rapid fire. You're like, boom, boom.
emtb, yes or no?
Without a doubt, yes. I think
really?
I think if I actually stopped talking long enough to listen to you talk, then I'd be able to know what you're asking.
No. I've had Jordan Boostmaster. I've had Kevin. I've had everyone all of our little pals in our little group, and only one has said, no, I'll never do it. Never, ever. And Josh. Everybody else, Josh, and everybody else.
Yeah. Josh also just did a white line video and acted like it was like freaking like down at ocean level, sea level, just riding on the beach. So apparently he's got a couple screws loose. Outside of that, like honestly, this is the way I feel about it, man. If it gets somebody outside, fucking let it happen, man. I'm one of those.
I'm talking about somebody. I'm talking about you.
Yeah, I don't care about me. I'm somebody.
Okay.
Just like it doesn't matter, man. Like go ride your bike, get outside, do something fun. I'm not one of those people that's like real heavy on like trail like use like restrictions. I don't feel like hikers and bikers and equestrians can't all get along. So what's the difference with the e-bike? The only thing that I've seen in the e-bike like controversy that really rang true to me, and it was recently, it was somebody in our YouTube group of friends that said that we need to put a restriction on what those power limits are. And that does make sense to me because at some point it's going to be like, oh, you can pedal like half a pedal stroke and go 35 miles an hour. That's okay. Like right now it's like the technology and the battery or whatever is keeping the speed to something. I feel like once that time comes where everybody's doing it, it looks exactly like the bike it does now. And then somebody else is going to be like, oh, I'm going to add on another 5 miles an hour. Fuck it.
Well, my older brother got me into it, and he is an e-bike evangelist. He's a pilot. Hi, Tara. And he built an e-bike. And so there's a very big difference between a pedal assist that has a governor at 20 miles an hour, and you can make it go faster than 20 if you're going down a hill. His bike that he made out of a piece of shit Schwinn frame will go 45.
Yeah.
Well, that's as fast as he's been willing to do it, but I am quickly becoming an e-bike evangelist myself. All right, let me stop.
I just think it would be really fun to be able to like shuttle some trails without a shuttle vehicle. You know,
no kidding.
There's a lot of stuff that we ride that's in an OHV park that here locally that you know, it's a pain in the ass to get out of. If we do it with a truck, I said doo-doo. If we do it with a truck, freaking, then it's like all this time that you're wasting driving back and forth. And
let me give you a follow-up then.
Yeah.
Let me do this follow-up.
Sure.
So let's say you got some rock and roller who decides e-bikes suck, you suck, your e-bike sucks. However, that's some dude that's a shuttle monster. If you're a shuttle person, do you lose your cred criticizing an e-bike? Because what's the difference?
It's not. That was one of the things that first like really like kind of set or like rang true with me with the e-bikes. I want to say it was an article that I read in Mountain Bike Action. I got one sitting over there. I was trying to think of their name. And
you can read?
Yeah, no shit, right?
Wow.
Dude, Pennsylvania has a school system like you wouldn't believe, but teaching us the first 16 letters of the alphabet is the first part, you know. So you graduate high school with that.
Nice.
Anyways, so they did this article where they were talking about, you know, they were doing this shuttle vehicle down in LA, Mount Watson or whatever, where everybody's always riding down there. And there, you know, like there's these guys that are freaking getting on their e-bikes as they're getting on their shuttle, and some people are talking shit about the e-bikes. And then it's like they're sitting in a vehicle not pedaling up the hill. Like those guys may get assisted, but they're still pedaling up the hill. You know, and when he laid it out like that, I was like, you know what? That's a damn good point.
Well, look, I put it on the screen. I like this guy. I like this guy a bunch. E-bikes are still motorized vehicles. Why not just get a KTM and brab? And you're kind of like, if you've never shuttled, you have a right to say that. If you've ever shuttled, you can't say that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like saying, why not get an M16 whenever there's a fucking musket? Like,
fair enough.
It's not the same thing, man. Yes, they're both guns, but they don't shoot the thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like you can be very over generalizing in this realm. And I don't want to like say anything to piss anybody off because apparently I need to stay monetized, but I don't do a very good job of that. So I'll just keep
I don't either. You know, it's talking about e-bikes is YouTube gold. Big crashes, boobs and butts, and e-bikes, and you'll do great. So let me stop right here.
All right, I'm gonna stop while I get a beer.
Go get a beer. Let me tell you something. Just in the middle of this, I have all of Robert's information in the description, his Patreon, Facebook. He's a very, very good IG guy. I always enjoy everything he posts. It's always unique. So go take a look at that and really subscribe to his channel. It's totally worth it. And that's what this is all about, to kind of highlight really good YouTubers. And Robert's always been extremely generous to me with shout outs and stuff like that. All right.
So really good YouTubers, but I'm on like 19th. I mean, kind of seems like a little bit of an oxymoron there.
Moron part for sure. What are you not very good at?
Shutting the fuck up and first marriages.
Attaboy. Tell me something. All right, here's the big question that you should.
Just flew over my first marriages joke. That wasn't good.
No, it sucked. Here's the hard question. Tell me something that you think is true, which we were kind of chatting about earlier, but you could pick whatever you want. Tell me something that you think is true that almost nobody agrees with you on.
Flat Earth.
You believe in flat Earth?
Well, there was somebody else that you interviewed that said that, and I thought it was really good. So I'm just going to.
I did too. I don't remember who that was.
Who was that? Was that? Do you remember?
I can't remember, but
that's weird.
Whoever said it caught me by surprise. I'm like, what?
Oh, I think it was
Really?
Tonka. Actually, I think it was.
Oh, it was Joe. That's right.
Yeah.
And
I was freaking rolling because you were like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "That is great." I'm going to remember that because I have no fucking clue how to answer that question.
He's so deadpan, and he did it like right away. Like, what the fuck? Are we done this interview? He's my kind of humor. Dry.
I was really drunk by a bonfire one night, and that came up in conversation, and I thought the person was joking, and when I realized they weren't, I was just like, I need to go to bed because this is going to get ugly, and I don't want to partake in this.
Yeah. Go back to question.
Two sides of me. There's like one side of me that's like really inquisitive and wants to know how they believe that, and then there's the other side of me that really just wants to fuck with people. So like, I felt like it was going to be a downward spiral no matter which side I chose.
Well, that goes back to question one. What are you not very good at? Which is the same as me. Like, I can't back off, and fortunately, I have a lovely wife that'll grab me by the shoulder, like, you're done. We're going home. What's your superhero name?
My lady just lets me go, and she just looks the other way. So it doesn't always play out well for me.
Nor me. What's your superhero name?
My superhero name. You know, these are the questions that I'm like, why did you come up with this bullshit ass question, man?
Because I'm not asking stupid shit about, tell me about the slack angle on the Rocky. No one gives a shit. People want to know you. So I found these questions.
My superhero name? I mean, seriously.
I found it on the dark web.
All right. Well, if it was on the dark web, then my superhero name is No Acetol.
What the fuck does that mean? Say it again? No acetol. Oh, I got you. I got it. What's your superhero power there?
You know
Captain
what?
I've heard
you ask this question a million times, and nobody's said it because I think everybody's afraid of like social repercussion. The first thing that comes into my mind is 13-year-old Robert thinking, I just want to see hot chicks naked. So I'm going with the old X-ray vision, but I'm making sure that it has blinders on anything that I don't think is appropriate.
Solid answer.
Yeah.
No, it's a solid answer. Let me ask you this.
I'm pretty sure that can save lives. And if not, fuck it. It's fun for me.
Well, let me ask you this question because I've never done this before. I did not go to Sedona, even though I live 75 miles away, and I get extremely nervous and introverted around a shit ton of people, and especially is it just a giant sausage fest?
No, there's actually a lot of women there, to tell you the truth. I mean, like that is definitely one of those like I'm at a loss for words right now, but it's one of those things that's definitely like relevant to what your normal crowd is. I mean, so if you go on 100 mountain bike rides and you see two women, you're like, man, I saw a fair amount of ladies out, you know, like, so there's definitely though a lot of women there. I would just say between that and like sea otter, which is another one of the huge ones, it just feels more personal. It's like it's small enough that like you don't have to tell your buddy where you're going. You know, you'll just bump back into them. You'll bump into people. You'll have some conversations, and the trails are just right there. So it makes it really fun. It's definitely one I went the first time just like because I wanted to go to something to have a good time. And as soon as I went once, I was like, I'm going every year. I mean, last year I drove fucking 12-hour drive. That's stupid. But that's how much I like it.
Yeah, thanks for calling me, by the way, to go out for dinner. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I knew that you had anxiety about being around people and especially like famous YouTubers, so I didn't want to put you in the and out of your safe spot,
There's our friend Ken, long-time listener, first-time poster. What an asshole. Have you seen his stuff?
Yeah. I heard
I've ridden with Ken.
Looking at like breaking bones though, especially like clavicles and things of that nature.
Guy can climb like a goat. I've
Oh
been
my
on
God,
one ride.
I fucking hate that motherfucker.
Oh, I went on one ride with him, and he works where I work. So
anybody that rides South Mountain on a regular basis has to be a good climber. Like
no kidding.
It's like you can't not ride that trail and get better at climbing. And I feel like the more that you ride that trail, the more that you get like you succumb to the other jackasses that ride that trail all the time and love climbing everything, that like trick you into like climbing is more fun than downhill. Like that is the secret to that place.
He can descend too. I've seen him descend, but I understand why he's busted himself up a couple of times, because his nose is right on top of his tire. But Ken, let's go riding again. Stop ignoring me. Okay, let me ask a real life question. What's something you're curious about right now?
Curious about? Like bike industry wise, or just in general?
Just in general, shit you think about driving down the street.
Some of the weird shit I think about is like, how long would it take me to walk to the moon? Like I come up with some really ignorant shit to like spend my time on.
Can't you Google Maps that?
Yeah, I don't want to do it that way though. I want to just like come like I like to like just bounce my way through life in some kind of odd pattern at times. So I just like I don't know. I definitely I have like ADD. I'm a little bit all over the place, at least in my thought process. So there's always some strange shit going on in my head.
What's something you failed at?
My first marriage. I'm gonna ride that joke. I'm definitely gonna.
You keep riding that.
How about something I failed at is I would say like overcoming some of the fear that I built up from that first bike injury. I definitely haven't been.
Are you back? I mean, are you back to?
I'm back to like I'm probably riding faster than I did then on some like pretty technical stuff. But I will say that the level of fear and anxiety that I have on a daily basis of riding I haven't overcome that. The way that I rode before, I definitely don't ride like that anymore. Even though I may like may be faster now, I'm definitely not riding with that level of confidence that I had before.
What about enjoyment?
Oh, enjoyment. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of riding I'm doing. It's
okay.
It's always fun. So that's like that's like kind of like the motto thing. Where I was like, it only takes a bike to be a biker. Or I also tell people all the time, like any day on the dirt's a good day. Like that means that's like legit for me. Like even if it's like you went out and you climbed 3 miles and on the top of your climb you like broke your chain and something else went wrong and you just had to coast back down to your car, like that's still a good day, man. Like I got outside and I did something other than sit on the couch,
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I want to say it, and I'm going to answer this in terms of YouTube, was one of the channels that I watched. I want to say it was Jordan Boostmaster that said it. And he was talking about starting a YouTube channel. And he was saying like, the best thing that you can do, like the number one thing is to just do it. Like really just post that video. And I'm a person that's like super analytical and I will like over fucking think things to the extreme. And for me to get to a point like where just edit it and let it go and put it out there. And there's a good chance that it'll suck, but that doesn't matter. And then start working on the next one. And that was really good advice, man.
It's hard advice to take because I talked to Brian BKXC a couple of years ago, and he's in our little boy group. But I remember I asked him for some advice, and he said exactly what you're saying, exactly what Jordan said. And I remember he said, just create. And I thought he was blowing me off. And the farther and farther I get on this goofy journey, the more and more I realized that was the best advice I have gotten as well. Like, you can't be that guy. You can't be that guy that goes, I'll put out a great video and see how it goes.
I love, and I did that on purpose 3 times. The fact that I can't edit my videos that I've already posted, because the type of person that I am is every time I learn something new, I would go back and and I would change those all. And all I would do was have this exponential amount of workload that I'd be building for myself. That's what I do. That, like, I love that fact that I can't do that. And then also what it does is it like freezes those moments in time. Yeah. And you go back and you look at those videos and you're like, man, this is fucked up. That's fucked up. Should have cut there. Should have cut there. Should have done this there. But
no, it's a body of history.
But the big thing is even though that was all fucked up, your channel was growing. So it doesn't fucking matter. And that's the one thing that I like to try to tell people a lot. The only people that give a shit about your quality of video is other creators. Nobody else cares, dude. They just want to watch a good video and have fun.
I say that all the time. Like, I watch you. I watch a lot of people. I watch Joseph of Trail Features a lot.
Yeah, doesn't that guy just suck to try to aspire to?
Oh, fuck that guy. I watch that guy all the time. I'll watch Joseph like 2 or 3 or 4 times. I'll skip ahead like, how did he do that? That was, I want to do that. I want to steal that. And here he is now. Look at you. All right.
But those are good things though. Like it's just like riding with people that are better than you. You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
It's the same thing. It's like, oh, wow. Like, I like how he did that transition or whatever. You know what sucks about doing YouTube? I'm going to change this podcast into what sucks about
you do what you want to do.
Right? It's my fucking show, man.
Fucking show.
Right? I don't know. Do you notice that like you watch TV and you like watch cutscenes and like B-roll and you're like, oh, I like how they did that. Like we'll be watching some movie and I'll be talking about the shot and Katie's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like seriously? This is interesting. Why are you looking at that?
I always say the same thing. I said this to Joseph. It's like being a restaurant owner and going to somebody else's restaurant and going, how are they doing this? And Joseph just said it perfectly here. If you don't look at your older work and get physically ill, you're not learning. All right, let me go to this middle part. Start putting question marks on your comments. Right. So you can ask Robert questions. But in the meantime, I still do want to remind you very seriously to go ahead and subscribe to Robert's channel. That's in my description. Well worth the Patreon too, because Robert actually does the Patreon really, really well. He does a lot of extended stuff. If you're doing your Peloton or whatever the fuck you're doing, totally worth it. And IG as well. So let me see out of this goofy group, can I start getting some questions? Here we go. Slater Mountain Biking. How long have you been on YouTube? Do you know this guy?
No, never seen him. Never seen him before. I've been on YouTube, I think for like 3 years now. Sounds about right.
That's it?
Yeah. 2017. Yeah, that was it. Because I was watching BKXC because he was local to me, and he was like spamming some of our local like forums that we chat on, and I watched a couple of his videos, and honestly at first I was like, this dude freaking gets on my nerves, but he had this like nervous laugh that he would do about shit when he was riding, and because he wasn't like he was just putting himself out there, it grew on me pretty quick. And then I started watching him, and that guy's like a fucking motivational speaker, man. Like he definitely has a life outside of YouTube, like doing the motivational speaking. And so as I watched his channel more and his channel was growing, like I was there, I was there in the beginning, watching him like quit his job and stuff. And it was really fun to like live vicariously through him. And that's kind of like what made me start, was watching his channel. And I will never not give him credit for my channel getting started because of him.
You know who else could be a motivational speaker besides Joseph? I told him that the other day. Alexander, single track sampler. That guy could easily do that. Let me ask this guy's question. How is your life different if there was no YouTube?
Pretty much not at all, except for like less editing. Like people, I remember the first time I went to Sedona, I went with my lady, and there was somebody there, and they had asked her, like, is he like this all the time? And she's like, yeah. And if anything, it's worse. You know, like it's just, this is my life, you know, and that's the reason that I started my channel, is because the other mountain bike channels that I was seeing, and I still feel this way, there's not a lot of people that are like showing the guys that I ride with, or the guys that I've been riding for like the last 20 years. And I feel like that's what my channel does. It's like, we're the dudes that don't give a fuck about climbing. We bitch about it. Maybe some of us are good at it. Maybe some of us aren't. We like to drink beer. We like to make fun of each other. We like to bang on each other. Like, I wasn't seeing that group, that these are people that I've been riding with for 20 years.
No, I get that. And I agree with you completely. It's very difficult for bigger YouTubers to, or at least bigger subs, to be able to do that. I totally believe they have to guard their brands. So yeah. I agree with you.
So I wanted to make my brand that, so that whenever that caught on, if it caught on, then I would just be able to continue being who I am with the people that I like being with, you know. And
it is fun. I gotta say,
it's a slower growth rate than what you would see in a lot of other people, but I can definitely say, and pretty much anybody that's in our space, they usually agree. Like my subscribers are, they're pretty hardcore. Like they're all in, you know.
Mine too. Mine are solid.
I love them for that, you know.
I do too.
I'm all right with being the Andrew Dice Clay of fucking mountain bike YouTube, you know.
What's worse, the Corona virus or the IPA virus?
Oh, you went off script, or that somebody did that?
No, that's middle-aged masher.
Are you just picking the same dude over and over again?
That's the guy. No, that's the guy that needs re-education on e-bikes.
Yeah.
I just being a nice guy. Robert,
wait a minute, I was going to answer it, man. It's definitely the IPA one, dude.
Waiting for you.
Seriously, all we do is wait. Do whatever Robert wants to do.
Yeah.
You're out
Robert. If you
want to talk for a while, I can do that.
I should.
Yeah.
Can you handle this?
Oh, I can. You got a question up there? I can rant on that one. Here we go. All right, Matt Schneider. First, let's talk about freaking this dude. No, anyways. So Matt Schneider, if you could only upgrade one thing on your bike this year, what would it be? Honestly, Matt, I'm telling you right now, what I'm probably thinking about upgrading is the bike itself. I have a 2017 Bronson, and I'm getting like the upgrade-itis, where I feel like if I keep spending money on this bike, I'm really not going to be doing anything other than like just making it prettier. So I'm really, really considering that short travel 29er. But if I was to get rid of the Bronson, maybe I would get a little bit of a longer one. That's not like the super long travel, like a LT or what I'm trying to say is like maybe 150, 140 on a 29er. Otherwise, if I was going to upgrade something on my bike and money was not a fucking object, I think I would go buy one of those push coils, because I just hear so many guys talk about riding a coil and how much better it is and this and that and the other. But for like the cost of a coil, just as like an experiment to see if I like it, it's just like, I'll never do it, because I'm frugal as hell. I'll pick up like a $10 hat at Target, walk through the whole store, get to the end of this, like end of the checkout, and be like, I don't know, that's too much. But if my daughter asked me for like a $50 pair of jeans, I'll be like, yeah, sure, go for it. You know, I'm really frugal when it comes to myself. So
all right, you're done.
Yeah,
let's do this, guy.
Actually, I was moving on from your podcast. This is now mine. So you don't need to come back. We're good.
This is easily one of my favorite subscribers. Great ride comments. Is the BKER Bar coming back?
Man, I have had this question a lot. And I really want to bring the BKER Bar back. I actually was talking to you about this before we started.
Yeah.
And I just really need to figure out two things. I need to figure out how to do it and not like just make it like suck the energy out of all of my weekends. Because basically that's kind of like, at first I was like, oh, I'll just do it on Sunday nights. It doesn't matter. But then I found out later, like long weekends, and I want to go camping, and can I get home from where I've been camping in time to do this? And it just got to be like, holy shit. And because I would like book them out way in advance. So I'd have like 2 months of people in front of where I was at. So I just got, I got a little overwhelmed with it. So I need to figure out like what the right like amount of shows is. Maybe it's once a month or something like that.
Who knows? That guy's a good dude. That guy's one of your Patreons. He's just a good dude. Chump MTB.
Don't answer my damn question, man.
It's my fucking show. You
all right? Well, so he says.
Is demonetizing. I just went and peed and I hurt my back. I'm not supposed to lift anything heavy.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess you must have picked up something wrong then, huh?
Is demonetizing videos for swearing a new policy? I don't do it too much. And have you been demonetized ever?
Nope.
I haven't either. It's like a legend or something.
Whenever YouTube first changed like their algorithm, where I got dinged a few times, and I just had to like push the button that said, "No, check that shit out. Maybe you're wrong," and they all came back up. And that was the thing that used to always blow my mind, because everybody's all like worried about it, and realistically, like it hasn't taken my demonetization apart or away. But I think there are some different levels to monetization, and like what group that you fall into. If you watch some other YouTubers about how all that shit happens, in my eyes, honestly, my channel is running off of what Patreon freaking does for me, and my YouTube checks like you have to get over $100 from YouTube before they send you the money. And I get one like every other month or so. Like I'm not making a shit ton of money from YouTube. I am definitely making the money that I'm making on Patreon. And that's why it's that important, because I've told these guys a million times, man, if it wasn't for Patreon, I probably would have quit at least a year ago.
Yeah, it's Robert and I were talking about this a little bit before we started about, I like it because it's a very fun hobby. And I'm still into it, and that's fun. That's great. Yeah. However, I couldn't fathom what it would be like to be a full-timer like Paul the Punter or Alexander of Single Track Sampler or even Seth.
Whoa. I could fathom it if I was at like Seth's level where the money is coming in enough that you can just be artistic. But like to get to that point,
come on, man.
That guy, different thing, dude.
That guy's got to be on every time, and that guy is on every time. That guy's got a great channel. So is Alexander and Brian. And I couldn't imagine the pressure of driving down the street on a Tuesday going, I got to put something out. And I'm a small timer, and I'm like, oh, crap. But I think as far as the demonetization goes, I'll answer the question this way. I have never seen it. I think there's a lot of wives' tales out there on YouTube. Like you can't say shit or you're done. I just don't think that happens.
I can speak,
or maybe I'm too small.
I've considered making a new channel that is like not bike related. And one of the things was to kind of curb that rawness that I use on the biker channel, because I will say that there are a lot of people it's just not appealing to hear the cuss words or like that's so what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to a larger audience, you know.
Let me follow up because I have a great question for you. So one of the things that happens like on all channels, I don't just mountain bike. I kite surf a lot, and I've put kite surfing videos out like, hey, you know, people keep telling me, show people your life. And okay, here's me doing this. But the second you get out of your lane, I mean, what do you think about that? How far out of your lane can you get? And like you're saying, if you really want to get out of your lane, do you have to start your a brand new channel?
You know, I think that hang on, I'm trying to text my daughter, man. She's more important than you and your stupid podcast.
No shit.
No, honestly, sorry about that. To be serious, I went through this whole process of figuring out this other channel that I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And I'm going to do this thing that's different. And I'm going to do this thing that's different. And I
was it makeup related?
Yeah, it was. And I pitched it to the lady, and she just looked at me and she was like, "Why can't you do that on your channel?" And it really kind of made me like back up and think about what I was. Do people ask you for help all the time? No, they don't ask me for help.
Yeah, I get that
like mental
on
help?
YouTube. No, on YouTube, how to do it, how'd you get here? And you know, we're both.
Yeah, I don't get that. There's a lot of things that I don't get that a lot of other people do, like trolls, you know, like, but what I was getting at with the lady though was, I think that you can get pretty far outside of where you're at. And Seth is a good example of it. It's just, you have to like have those hooks still. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I do. I know exactly what you're saying.
So, I mean,
but I think once he gets out of the
do a makeup video, you know, and it's like, how do you wear makeup as a chick and still ride bikes? You know what I mean? Like, and not look like
I do.
Yes, right?
No, I do. And I think, I don't know Seth from Adam. I've never met him. He seems like a nice guy, a nice kid. I don't know Alexander. And I think I'm really curious about his new channel, Berm Creek, which I really, really enjoy. I always say the same thing about, like, I used to watch, like everybody else. What was that one? Orange Choppers. What the?
Like on TV?
Yeah. What was that called?
Yeah, I never watched that show, but I know what you're talking about. They're like LA, West Coast choppers, and they like.
Yeah. And then eventually they show all the personalities, and you're like, no, I'm here for the welding and the build. All right. Let me do this. Okay. Once again, God, if you've been here this long, there's got to be a coronavirus out. That's the only reason you'd be here.
I'm super stoked that I'm meeting my goal.
Don't forget, I have Robert's Patreon right in my description, as well as his YouTube. Well worth it. I'm not kidding. Robert's always been very generous to me and helping me get started.
You're supposed to do that part where you're like, he doesn't post too many Instagram photos. I
his like Instagram fucking sucks. I would never go on his Instagram.
That's what you say about everybody else, right? Like, no.
Yeah, I do. That's exactly what I say.
So I do post too much then, huh?
No, I think yours is good. There are some people that I have to mute. I'm like, holy shit. 12 a day is plenty. Okay. You're good. I don't need to see your daughter's first potty training.
You know, with YouTube, I've actually gone through and deleted all of my subscriptions, which I'm friends with most of these guys, multiple times, just because they get tired of the freaking like the notifications. So I just delete everybody, and then like a couple weeks later, or like maybe a month later, I'm like, man, I'm missing a bunch of videos. So then I go back and re-add them, and now YouTube add this thing so they can see like how long you've been a subscriber. I'm like, fuck.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. Your old lady was texting. Your old lady was texting me.
Oh,
all right.
At least she's texting somebody.
She's pretty awesome.
Well, you know, it's either you or the dog. So
good for you.
Up on the Labrador Retriever.
What's your favorite word?
Oh, definitely, hands down. I did study this one.
I know you did.
Listen to me. When I was younger and I was in the military. Oh, I gotta come in close for this. When I was younger and I was in the military, we used to tell. I lived in Germany, and we would tell the girls,
You gotta back up. You're giving me a chubby.
You got to say laminate. Because watch the way that the lips go. Laminate. Yeah, it's good shit, man. So that was like the running joke for a long time.
Still today?
That's the hottest word you could say is laminate.
Wow. What's your favorite curse?
Syllables? I mean, what else could you ask for?
What's your favorite curse word?
Oh, all of them. Probably got to lead towards fuck a lot.
All right, that a boy.
Yeah.
All right. Tough question. Real question. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, other than the YouTube thing, I think it would be fun to well, I guess I can't do porn. My penis is too small. Basket weaving is kind of tough. No, but honestly, like I joking aside, I've considered being like one of those like house flipping kind of people. Because it's fun to like put your hands on shit. Yeah. Like you walk away from when I was younger, I was an electrician for a while. And when you finished a job, you had something to look back on. I guess that's kind of like how YouTube
That's
is.
So funny you say that. I have 3 brothers, and I have a brother in construction, and he's been doing it since he was like 15 years old. And he always says the same thing. Every day, I wind up my cords, I get to my truck, and I look back, and I can say, I did that today. That must be gratifying.
I can drive through like the cities that I worked in, and it'd be like, hey, look at that big bright spot over there. A bunch of freaking telephone or light poles, and
that'd be cool.
Shining all over the place. You're like, I remember putting that in.
I think that's the best answer I've got so far on this podcast. Let me ask this.
So wait, let me tell you a story about whenever I did electrical work. There was this guy that we were working with, and he would always forget shit. And we would call him Doc Holiday, right? So because he would fuck up something, and we were like, all right, Doc Holiday fucked it up again, or he forgot something. And so like whenever somebody would forget something, it turned into like, oh, that's a holiday. So you're like, walk back, you forgot the tool or whatever. You're like, oh, holiday. So this dude was not what you would want as a carpenter. So we get this inspection, and there's this like huge major beam that goes across the whole building. And that's like what's holding the roof together. And the way the engineer designed it, these bolts won't go through the beam because there's another beam in the way. You just can't put it in. So the inspector comes and he's like, what the fuck is that? You don't have all the bolts in there. You need to get all the bolts in there. So that fucking Doc Holiday guy cut the end off of both sides of the bolt and liquid nailed them up there because they're 30 feet up in the air in that hole. And I'll tell you, one day that building falls down.
That's not true. Like, that's not true.
I swear to God, it's true.
God.
Swear to God.
Let's answer this guy's question because he's hung out. Robert, have you ever made a video with beer courage? I watched one the other night, and you were giving it hell.
I'm not sure exactly what he means by about with beer courage. If he's talking about with riding and drinking, actually, I never drink when I'm riding.
Nor do I. No way.
Like when we did the Moonlight video, we were like doing a pretty, like, it was like everything we were doing was super tame. And so we were like drinking because we were like chumming it up for the video, and you can't like not swallow the beer, right? So we caught a decent buzz on that. But normally I'm not like my group of friends were like ride hard, but like drink after. Like I see guys like do party laps and like drink a beer, and like it's just it doesn't sit well with me. So I just don't want to.
It takes away from the enjoyment. I want to be sharp when I ride.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Do we get to the end? Are we there?
We're there. So Robert, I got to thank you big time. I've been dying to have you on. I'd love to have you on again. This is a lot of fun. Once again, I want you to check out the description in this if you're still here. But the Patreon is really the lifeblood of YouTubers. Subscribe to his channel. He is actually a good Instagrammer. And Robert, I really appreciate you coming on. And this was the longest. I want dinner, man. I'm starving. So thank you. And thanks, everyone.
I really appreciate you having me on, dude. Every time I watch you interview somebody else, I think about all of the like wise ass shit that I'd love to say. So now I got a chance, and I'm still like,
you should start the biker bar again.
Yeah, you'll be my next guest.
I will.
I don't think I had